Say what? Thanks for coming out. Thanks for watching comedy, participating in comedy. I applaud you people because we live in a culture now that can't laugh anymore. I mean, everybody is so thin-skinned. Everybody is so sensitive. Everybody is so filled with tolerance that they hate each other. That's what tolerance will do to you. It will fill you with hate and rage. And we don't laugh anymore. There's nobody has a sense of humor. I do comedy sometimes in church. I do comedy in church. And church people will come up after shows and they will ask me this question. Do you think God has a sense of humor? I'm like, well, I think he made church people. Heavens, yes, God has to have a sense of humor because we didn't think up laughter. That wasn't our idea. That was given to us by a higher power that knew we were going to need it to get through life. Because he knew we were going to have hardship. He knew we were going to have struggles. He knew we were going to get married. He knew stuff was going to happen. And so laughter is a gift. Laughter is a gift. And that gift is manifest in every single one of you. God put something stupid in every single one of you that the rest of the world is supposed to laugh at. So when you cover up your stupidity, you are robbing people of a blessing. That's called a sin. So the cure to society's ills is laughter. It's comedy. But here's how it has to work. You have to see it in yourself first. You have to be willing to recognize your own stupidity and then share it with the people you love. Got to notice it in yourself first. We've done this. You've all done this. You've been driving down the road, right? You pass a semi-truck. You lean towards the window and go. That is fairly stupid. You ever had a semi-truck pass you and go? Why do we think we can boss semi-drivers around? Like we're their boss or something? We don't do that with other people. You don't pass the construction zone and look at those guys and go. Got to see it in yourself. Comedy is everywhere. It's built into the fabric of our DNA. It's built into us. God could have made us any way he wanted. You ever thought about that? He could have made us any way he wanted. And he did that. Whatever's sitting next to you. Look at your neighbor. He could have done anything, and he did that. And some people think they can avoid comedy. They think they can keep it out of their lives. They can be serious. You can't. You can't. Eventually, it's going to burst forth. It's in you. You're going to sneeze. There's no dignified way to pull that off. Sneezes fall into several categories. There's people like me, always know when I'm about to sneeze because I give a big performance leading up to it. I'm like... And then it just disappears. It just goes right... And I get dumber. And then I have a friend of mine that there's no warning when he sneezes. You're in the middle of a conversation and jeez. And then my sister Bonnie, when she sneezes, whatever she does, when she sneezes, it's usually just girls that do this, just girls. There's a big buildup and she goes, Cannot be good for you, ladies. You can't have without chew. That has to go somewhere. It's going to wind up on your thighs. Well, that's not cellulite. That's unreleased chew. It's in you. It is everywhere. Comedy is everywhere. so busy being offended we don't see it. I was knocking around online a little while back, and I found a town in Arkansas. Name of the town is spelled Flippin. I would move there. Everything's funny at that point. Hey, I'm John, and I'm from Flippin, Arkansas. Family and I are at the Flippin Church of Christ every Sunday morning. Graduated from Flippin High School. There's my Flippin diploma. Go Birds. I don't know what they're called. I have no idea what they're called. We can agree if it's anything other than birds, that is a huge mistake, isn't it? That's a missed opportunity. You can go to their Flippin' website. It's a real place. It exists. And you will discover that they have no idea that they're hilarious. It's sad. Their website is full of information about their Board of Education, their Chamber of Commerce, right? There's a picture of a squad car on the website. It says on the side of the car, Flippin' Police. How do you miss that? How do they keep a straight face in emergencies? Somebody call the Flippin' cops! Robbing the Flippin' bank. But you got to see it in yourself. That's the thing. You can't, it's okay to make fun of other people, but you got to see it in yourself first and then share it with other people. All right, some of you who live indoors will relate to this. You know how when you live indoors and you hear a sound in the middle of the night and you're not sure the source of that sound, it kind of freaks you out? A couple of weeks ago, it's 3 o'clock in the morning at my house, and I hear this whistling coming from somewhere in the house. And so I nudge my wife to ask her to go look for it. But she wouldn't go because she's asleep and she's pretty selfish when she's unconscious, and so I had to go all by myself. So I'm trying to find it just using auditory signals. And then when I got close, it sounded like it was moving. So I'm chasing it around in the dark for like 10 minutes. And then I finally realized it's this nostril. Now, I didn't have to tell my wife that story, but I did. So she could tell everybody else. That's how you put stupid to good use. Just take ourselves so seriously. We're serious about scientific discoveries. Science, plays a part in all of this, all of our culture, everything. We pay attention to science now. Science has the answer. Science is going to tell us things. Science is going to make our life better. And it might, but we just ignore everything that science tells us. You ever notice that? You shouldn't eat artificial colors. Hand me another Dr. Pepper. Alcohol is bad for you. Scientists told us that too. Alcohol kills brain cells. That's what the scientists told us. We don't care. Nobody cares. Most of the bars, you can buy alcohol. Did you not know that? That most of the bars have alcohol? And on a Saturday night, the reason we don't care about that is because the scientists, the people who told us alcohol kills brain cells, are the same folks that told us human beings only use about 10% of their brains. So the taverns are full of all the geniuses going, man, we got 90% to blow. Smoking's bad for you. Science told us that. And there were people that needed to be told. There were lawsuits a few years ago. Smoking people were suing the tobacco companies because the smoking people claimed they didn't know how bad smoking was. We did not know that it was bad to inhale smoke. We had no idea that smoking was bad for us. Which means that somebody's first cigarette looked like this. Oh, that's good. Oh, you can taste the vitamins. We don't pay any attention to what science tells us. This is my favorite scientific finding of all time, and so I'm sure it's going to be yours. So when people stop you on the street, what's your favorite scientific finding? You can say, I'm glad you asked, and whip this out. According to science, goldfish have a 6-second memory. Makes the whole evening worthwhile, doesn't it? And it makes sense when you think about it that a fish would have a short memory. You can tell that by looking at the system we use to catch them. That would never work on an animal that could remember stuff. Big school of fish swimming around, drop a worm on a hook right in the middle of them. Fish is thinking, hey, there's a worm. Well, Frank's got it. It's a trick! It's a trap! They got Frank! He's gone! He's gone! Hey, there's a worm. Then the scientists tell us fish is brain food. Huh. So many things everywhere. I do so many idiotic things. I buy stuff from infomercials. I don't care. I don't even care. I do. I bought our last vacuum cleaner from an infomercial. It's the world's most powerful vacuum cleaner. That's what they said on the infomercial. Those people have no reason to lie. Now, the vacuum program was on at 3 o'clock in the morning. The infomercial was a half-hour program. That's when all your quality vacuum programming is on. You can't catch it at prime time. You got to stay up late and commit like I do. So it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm glued to the television set watching this vacuum program. And they're running it all over the studio. The guy's talking about it. This is the world's most powerful vacuum. Look at the job it's doing picking up these quarters. They had a stack of quarters on the floor. They're just sucking them up. And I'm at home going, yes. We've got so much money laying around on the carpet. We have nothing to get cash out of the shag. They picked up a bowling ball with the vacuum cleaner. I've been using those 3 holes in the top of mine like a moron. Those days are over, my friends. And have you noticed that no matter how powerful your vacuum cleaner is when you're using it, there's always one little piece of white fuzz on the carpet? You're like... If that had been a bowling ball, I'd have got it. Our vacuum cleaner has a headlight on the front of it. Our vacuum cleaner... Who in the universe says, when the sun goes down, that's when we vacuum? My wife was kind enough to explain it. She says, John, that light is there because you can't see dirt in the dark corners. Then why are we vacuuming it? Wouldn't it be easier to make sure company doesn't bring flashlights over to the house? Problem solved. Family's another proof that God has a sense of humor. I think marriage had to be a joke. Had to be. The whole idea of marriage is just, it had to be a joke. Man and woman. Imagine God saying to the angels, hey, come here, look at this, what I did. It's a man and a woman, and put them down there. Two entirely different creatures, different sensibilities, different ways of processing things, emotional levels. They're not alike in any way, and I'm going to make them spend the rest of their lives together. It's going to be awesome. He started with man first. You know the story? He made man first, and then he took a rib from that man and made woman. And clearly that was the rib that we used to use to read minds. So look for the humor in your life, all right? Don't be hung up and correct and tolerant. Just have fun. Just have fun. There's comedy everywhere. We don't communicate very well anymore in this culture. That's the problem too. We used to be able to communicate. We used to have words. Some of you old people remember words. Remember those? There was kids, you don't know what we're talking about, but there was an alphabet, and you could take letters from that alphabet and arrange them in certain ways to form these things called words, and those could be used to communicate ideas. And now we just text people things. Emojis. I got an emoji from my kids a couple of months ago, and it was just a smiley face, an explosion, and a pile of poop with eyes in it. And that meant happy birthday, Dad. But it wasn't always that way. It used to be we had words, we would communicate. I did some research. William Shakespeare had an active vocabulary of 54,000 words. 54,000. Today in the United States, we, all of us, have an active vocabulary of 3,000 words. Which is why when we read Shakespeare, we're lost. We're like, what lieth through yonder, whereupon what breaketh on the... And just put in a DVD. I don't pay for Netflix so you kids can sit there and read. And I started thinking about little kids in the 16th century. Those kids had a bigger vocabulary than I have now as an adult because they were exposed to that language, which means I am not smart enough to read fairy tales to 16th century children. I'd be lost in the kids section at the library in the 16th century. Can you imagine what their books were like? It'd be like, in time past, or not long ago, there lived pigs in stature little, in number 3, who, being of an age both entitled and inspired to seek their fortune, did set about to do thusly. When they had travelled a distance, pig number first spake, saying, hearken, brethren, heed this tempestuous realm. Tarry we long from hearth and home, we shall fare, I fear, not well. And so, being collectively agreed, but individually impelled, the diminutive swine set about each to erect for himself an abode. Pig numbered first did construct his house from straw. Pig numbered second did likewise, though rather not from straw, instead from sticks, meanwhile, unique in his imagining. Pig numbered 3 did erect as his domicile, stalwart and garish, a structure made from brick entirely. But soon there happened along, as is frequently the scenario in classic tale of protagonist pig or red-hooded child. A wolf, carnivorous nature in full season, he called out to the straw-ensconced swine, saying, pray thee, little pig, grant me entrance. But pig 1 recalled with sage foreboding that he is mad who trusts in the tameness of a belly-pinched wolf, and responded immediately, nay, it shall not be, indeed, not by wit or whiskered jowl. To this most expected response, the wolf replied immediately, then steel thyself, little pig. Forthwith shall I endeavor, in blowing means both huffing and puffing, to dismantle yon flippin' flaxen fortress. Whereupon there issued forth from the wolf an exhale of gale proportions, that quickly rendered straw hovel to dregs and dross, and carried aloft piglet and shattered quarters both. Exposed now to claw and fang, piglet one made haste, wolf in pursuit to the stick-festooned sanctum of peccary secondary. Causing pig 2 to cry out in dismay, well, this knots my knickers. Marshalling a feral wolf to my doorstep is nowhere among those endeavors amenable or congenial. 1,000 pardons, begged one. It would seem the beast's painful breath hath purged me of home and sound judgment alike. The malevolent blast of the wolf's exhale splattered second swine shack and short his sanctimonious scolding simultaneously. Lo and behold, squealed 2, stand we now amid wooden wreckage, tremulous and vulnerable, with nary a strategy for eschewing the canine devourer looming in deadly proximity. Strategy, exclaimed one, while 'tis noble the contemplation of tactical particularities, pressed as we are with time restraints forbidding detailed strategical conversation, I would urge we run. Whether by their own fleet-footed competence or the wolf's windless attitude, the bantam porkers arrived at their ultimate kindred neighbor's inexpugnable brick ingress unscathed. Upon the third pig's door, with urgent hooves they pounded, calling out, unbar this entrance, and with haste we beseech thee. The third pig hailed from the American colonies. And possessing a vocabulary substantially less robust than his impromptu visitors, replied, say what? Seek we sanctuary, they implored on the verge of hysteria, lest we fall forthwith to the ravenous appetency of yonder approaching carnivore. Still confounded by their importunate words, pig 3 did render ajar his portal, whereupon 1 and 2 spilled through and collapsed beyond his threshold, enervated. So y'all just wanted to come in? Why didn't you say that? Hiss of the wolf could be heard. Pray thee, pigs, grant me entrance. The wolf, said 1 and 2. Wolf, said 3. What'd you suppose he wants? He seeks to gain purchase within. Indeed, he would occupy this very alcove were he but afforded the most meager of opportunity. Right. I reckon I'll just ask him what he wants. Under no circumstances, squealed 2, flinging self against portal. There is naught to be gained accosting external opponent, save our own immediate demise. What did you say about my mama? House and occupants were again engulfed in a malevolent blast of wolfish wind. The foundation shook, the frame rattled, and lo, to the astonished eyes of piglets and encroaching scoundrel alike stood the third pig's lodging undaunted. Aghast and befuddled, 2 queried of 3, how does against such relentless and torrential onslaught this domicile endure? Pig 3 puffed out chest, tapped a hoof to the hearth, and responded, it's American made.
Local man robs Wendy's with alligator. We're the alligator boys now.
And the lady be sitting at the bank, she be going, Mom, Mom,